Agenda item 4 is a jurisdictional rulings for wetlands. Agenda item 4, jurisdictional ruling wetland violation 31 Old Post Road, Shoreline Gardens, LLC. Folks have anything in our packs? No, right? This is all information that we just emailed. So what we have is a, folks may recall, we have a violation letter from the Inland Wetlands officer that's dated March 3rd, 2016. It describes certain regulated activities being conducted on the subject property without permit and instructing the property owners to apply for an after-the-fact permit. From that complaint that was in that package and the violation letter itself, the activity in question appears to be clearing of trees, other work including deposition of material, in direct proximity to the wetlands and water course, again without permit. There's also an email, and prosecution. The email from the property owner contesting the Inland Wetlands officer's letter. And so, I guess what I am looking for, is the property owner here?
Scott Baker, 31 Old Post Road.
Right. Thanks for being here. I guess what I'm looking for from clarification either from Mr. Baker or from Eric is with regard to the jurisdictional determinations, are we being asked to rule on whether or not the activity falls under our definition of a regulated activity, or whether or not it's an as-of-right activity under section 4.1?
As I understand, certainly, feel free to correct me if I get the interpretation wrong, my understanding is that you're being asked to make a determination that this is an as-of-right activity and therefore not within your jurisdiction. That this is essentially agricultural land, and either this was work to restore a site that had been damaged by a storm, and the applicant indicates he received some sort of verbal authorization from Tom Lane to be able to do this sort of activity. Is that more or less?
That's correct.
Okay, so that's
correct.
So it's a claim of exemption under section 4.1 of our regulation.
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying.
And I'd like to offer in evidence some photos. I have wetland delineation of the whole property that the photos will match up with. So respectfully request that you look at my presentation. When I spoke with Sherry at the town hall, she indicated to me if we wrote a letter to this board asking for a site visit, that you would consider a site visit, the board would consider a site visit to walk the property with us or without us. I don't believe that's ever happened. I don't think anybody's ever been to the property. You have 6 photographs that were taken from neighbors' properties. Not very good pictures. 3 of the pictures were of the same brush pile. I have pictures that will walk you through the whole wetland delineation. I will show you delineation on an engineered plan. We are a farm. We have been farming, harvesting a woodlot for 11 years. I can prove that everything that's been cut is dead wood from Hurricane Sandy. If you look at my pictures and you walk through the plan, I'll gladly do that with you. All I want is a fair shake.
Well, that's what we're here to give you. So
We should take a few minutes and look at my pictures.
sure.
I'll submit the whole book to you. I have nothing to hide. I have a full delineated plan. I will show you everything that I've done. I'd like to take a few minutes to go through it, and then I'll answer any questions.
These are identical?
I really wanted to, I really wanted to site visit. I would have walked you through the site, but I understand you're busy.
We can certainly hold the site one. It'd be helpful for the context, our contact, sure.
I request a site visit, really, because there are violations on my property that I cannot do.
Okay. Do you want to explain what we're looking at? If you could flip through and just help us.
Is that what you'd like me to do?
I think that would be helpful rather than having us.
You want to see the plan first? The plan kind of goes with it. I have a delineation engineered plan.
Whatever you feel would help us in our determination.
Okay, what I've done in the photographs is I've walked you through the wetland in order of the wetland. We have a little over 7 acres of property. Unfortunately, 25% of it is wetland delineation. You can see the wetland delineation here in yellow. I started with the pictures here, and I walked the whole property. I took pictures of everything. So those first 20 pictures that you have in there are full wetland, where most of the water is, and then it leads to a brook that access to the neighbor's property, known as Pinder.
If I may for just a second here, because this is being put on audio tape, which is not going to be able to be picked up exactly what you're pointing to, if you can just give a general description of starting at what corner, going down, going up, just so it's clear as to what you're pointing at.
Okay, I'm struggling with new glasses, you're going to have to bear with me. Wetland flagging number 28 is where the wetland starts. That's on the first page. And then it goes to 26. Flag number 24. Flag number 22. Flag number 20. And then it reverses to go to the back side so that it didn't miss anything, so that you could see everything. Flag 29. Flag 31. Flag 34. Now, the letters clearly stated that we were clear-cutting trees, and I'm afraid I have to challenge that assertion. There are no stumps that were freshly cut. If you look carefully at all the pictures, you will not find a clear-cut tree. And we've been accused of clear-cutting wetlands, and we have not clear-cutting wetlands. We have been manicuring the property. We have been harvesting cordwood. We've been harvesting redwood. I hand carry everything out. And yes, I leave the tops behind where they are because it's just too much work. And the neighbors have been creating a lot of problem about me getting a fire permit. So I've stopped burning the brush. The brush now stays. We use this wildlife habitat. We've tried to appease the neighbors. All we've been after is the damage from Hurricane Sandy. We got destroyed. There are 32 trees that went down. If you look at the stumps, I have the stumps of the trees in those pictures. I can prove everything with a site visit, guys. I really request a site visit. We are environmentally sensitive. My wife and I, all we care about are plants and animals. We don't do well with people, we'll do with plants and animals. We don't believe that we violated the Wetlands Protection Act. I have gone to wetlands and pulled out dead trees, dead limbs, dead brush. You need a permit for that. I'll gladly fill out a permit for that.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Why you before us?
I got a letter from Mr. Knapp who said that I was clear-cutting trees in a wetland. Let me read it. Let me read this correctly.
Okay.
Wide-scale clearing of trees is what he wrote. I have not cut a tree, except for the ones that were damaged. There were 4 trees that were broken. If you look through the pictures, you can see that Hurricane Sandy destroyed us. When a lot of the big trees fell, they broke trees off 15, 20 feet in the air. So I have removed 6 of those near the wetland. And I believe that's what he saw in one of his pictures, the trees that were cut.
The brush that you left there, I mean, I'm a DOT contractor, and when we working in the wetland, they tell us to leave the brush there, and that becomes part of the environment.
That's all I've been trying to do. I would really appreciate a site visit.
And was that because of the complaint that the wetlands enforcement officers?
Yes, we're having some issues with other issues, so this is more culture motivated than it is conservation.
Well, when we asked the wetlands officer, when you sent the letter, was that based on somebody complaining to you?
There were complaints by the neighbors on the far side, yes. I went out there as near as I could tell. If you look at the floor of the forest, the pictures is picked clean. And as you indicated, Mr. Neary, generally the practice when you do this sort of cutting is to leave the debris where you find it, so that it has a habitat as opposed to putting it in piles. So that the characteristic of the wetland is a little different than it would naturally be, and that was really my biggest concern. Again, if this is taking place as part of a farming or other activity that is exempt, that's really the whole point of this application. The whole point of bringing him in here was to have him explain what he was doing and why, and if there was a need for an application, or if there was a need to recommend different practices to make sure that takes place.
So you're saying the brush is in a pile as opposed to laying at the foot of the tree that went down?
Yeah, if there were ways to do this that were ecologically better for the wetlands, that weren't changing the characteristic of the wetlands, that is certainly something I would recommend. And again, as far as going out there and taking a visit, that's up to the commission. I have no objection to you doing so. And again, I'm
But it's a
sorry.
little different from the natural situation where a tree goes down because it's rotted and the branches are there. But if a hurricane knocks down a fairly good tree, the same procedure. It's not the same as the natural situation when a tree falls.
I understand
You have
that.
to cut it up and get rid of it.
I'm not,
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying that you were prompted by
I was
complaints.
prompted by the neighbors who said that there was a lot of clearing going on, and it didn't look like it did before.
There's a lot of clearing going on, it's all dead wood. 32 trees, you have no idea what 32 trees is.
If you look at the pictures there, look at the stumps. I mean, they're all black and they've been there for a while.
That's why I'd like you to visit. I really respectfully request that.
We can certainly set it.
And I will we'll file any permit you'd like. We'd like to keep farming, we'd like to keep harvesting. We have a lot of dead wood that we haven't. All I've done is picked up stuff that's on the ground. I now have 30 trees that are dead, that are broken. You see a couple of them that are absolutely dangerous that I would like to take down. So if you need a permit for that, we'll gladly fill out any permit, and we'll take site visits every week. We're not opposed
Again, just
to
to
it.
clarify, to the extent that there's a claim of farming for this site, that falls within your ability, again, jurisdictional determination. If you agree that this is farming and he's allowed to do it, you still need to make that finding, give him a letter that says, okay, you're farming, you're okay. So it's not necessarily that he can't do what he's doing, or he even needs a permit to do what he's doing.
Right.
But the whole point why we're calling it a jurisdictional determination is for you to figure out if he's exempt or not exempt. And again, the site visit can certainly factor into that. That's
I would think he's exempt. I mean, if you're a farmer, all right, you're not self-destructive. You're not going to do things that destroy your business and destroy all the property. Basically, they're cleaning up from damage from the storm, and just on a routine basis, even if you didn't have a storm, trees do fall down, right? And sometimes it becomes a safety situation. It's not like you're in a huge forest like Capafonte. It's a small farm area. And sometimes that has to be cut up and removed.
There are violations around us, but we did not do it. So we request a site visit.
What kind of violations do you think are there?
We have one neighbor who has filled in about 3,000 square feet of our wetland to make lawn for himself. And he built a flex pile in the wetland, so.
It's not similar to what the claim is there against you.
Well, it's a different neighbor.
But I'm saying it's not the same. You're talking about trees being clear cut versus.
I have not done any clear cut.
No, I'm saying.
No, I think,
No, it's just brush the neighbors are using my property for their disposal.
I think certainly, if you read our regulations, clear cutting is defined. It's harvesting timber, that removes all species of trees down to a 2-inch diameter. Press height. You're clearly not doing that, so I would say it's pretty clear you're not clear cutting. I think what Eric is trying to say is that is the activity altering the wetlands in such a way that could cause long-term harm.
Well, one of the pictures there, I'll gladly point it out, but one of the pictures there, when the storm took down a tree, it actually emptied the wetland because it made such a cavity that the wetland emptied, so the wetland does not fill up anymore. When I cut the tree, the stump went back to its place, but it did not hold back the water. So the water level has dropped about 4 inches. But it It wasn't what I did. And I can show you that tree, and that's why I like site visits. I can show you very clearly what happened with Mother Nature.
So maybe a good way to handle it, I think we, coincidentally, we had a representative from Marlow. There was I don't know if you saw the agenda, but there was another jurisdictional determination on the agenda as to do another forestry job. And in that case, the applicant is doing a lot of the job. They have a forestry plan that's been prepared, a site map. It's actually a silvicultural plan that's prepared by a certified forester, which is required for an as-of-right activity like this. I don't know if you want to go that route.
I don't want to spend money, but I'll do what's right. We'll do what's right for the town.
I think, thank you for that. I think that, part of our job is to determine if there's enough information provided to demonstrate that, one, the use of the property is for agricultural purposes, and is the work related to and essential to that type of activity. I think it might be easier if we just do a site walk and you apply for a permit to conduct activities, we can put conditions on it, and maybe make sure there's an enhanced buffer around the stream or something that provides for better wildlife, functional value, and things like that.
Let's listen to what wishes.
That would be my recommended approach.
Mr. Chairman?
See what it is first.
Not to interrupt, I was about to say more or less what Walter was saying, which is, I think that the immediate answer is schedule a site walk, put it on the agenda for next month's Wetlands Commission meeting, and at that time, after you've taken a look at it, figure out where you want to go. Because apparently, from what we're hearing, there's a lot to be seen on site. So the next step seems to be to schedule a site visit. So that would agree.
Before we can figure out what needs to be done.
You guys agree with that, Chris? Carl?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I don't really think we need to do it, but I think just to put all the blocks in places.
Only the applicant's asking us to do it.
Well, I hear that, but I think he's bending over backwards to.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of pressure from the neighbors, so we would prefer a site.
Well, that changes my mind then. I
We
mean,
would prefer a site.
if our walk helps him,
It would.
then I think we should do a walk.
True, but our duty is to our regulations, so we need to be out there to look at what is our responsibility, and hopefully,
Well, we might not have any responsibility when we see it.
that is true.
I don't agree that we should have to do that, but he wants us to do the sidewalk.
So I have a cease and desist. Does that mean I still can't haul out the timber that I've harvested already? I have to stay in place? To your site visit?
I think that should be lifted.
Yeah, again, the point of the letter was to have you come in and do what we're doing now.
Okay.
At this point, I am willing to await the commission's determination as to what needs to happen next. Okay?
I don't think we should be interfering with his business, and I don't even think it's our responsibility to be looking at it. So if a cease and desist has been issued, it should be lifted. So
It
you
has not.
continue.
He has
So
not.
he
It was, Mr. Uri, it was not a cease and desist, it was just a letter saying.
Okay.
I didn't hit the date. It wasn't done.
We have a sort of step process. This is sort of the
I'm
first
just
letter.
saying, we should confirm the fact that he can continue on with his business.
I have no problem with that. I will await the commission's determination as to what the next step should be.
But I believe your primary interest is green. I understand.
Well, my wife owns the greenhouse business. I harvest cordwood. I spend my whole life in the woods. I have other properties in Massachusetts. I do a lot of harvesting of cordwood. I spend my life with a chainsaw. I have a separate business where I build structures, gazebos, trellises out of the cedar. I've harvested 400 cedar off this property. It's been on for 11 years. All of a sudden, it's come to the forefront because of some political stuff. But the neighbors all know that I've been doing this for 11 years. I've had a fire permit every year through the fire marshal. I've done everything by the book. Mr. Lane has been out almost every single year because the neighbors complained. So we were a little surprised to get this letter after 11 years of work. And that's why I want the site visit. I want to show you that we love the environment. We're not doing any damage. We're trying to put it back to full function. We understand it. We definitely understand it. And we just want to prove that. The letter was disheartening.
earliest?
Eric, what do we need to do
November
to end this
November
conversation?
19th,
November?
June 19th.
That's Father's Day.
At some point, what he's requesting is that this is a following activity and you do not have jurisdiction. So at some
Yes.
point, if that is the consensus of the commission, then that's the motion we should make. Okay? He asked
After our
what,
sidewalk, we have to make
well,
a
Carl's saying even maybe now. Mr. Yuri's asking, what, if we want to make this go away, what would be the next step? And I said, well, if you determine there was no jurisdiction, it would go away.
All right, I make that motion. I think we should add to that, that we go around the sidewalk because we would like it to, and that reinforces this committee.
Well,
There's
I thought
a-
the initial aspect was whether there was an issue with the wetland.
There's a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Carl, I'm confused with your motion. You're moving that you have no jurisdiction,
Yes.
but you are moving to have a site walk?
And his request, yeah, we can do that.
Well, except if you move that there's no jurisdiction tonight, at that point, there's nothing on the agenda. And
Right.
at that point, it's over. So
I'm fine with that. Okay? I'm just trying to be open.
All right, we'll take out the other fourth part. That we have no jurisdiction.
So what are you moving, Carl?
Excuse me?
He is moving that there is no jurisdiction in this commission.
Moving no jurisdiction.
I think we're wasting his time and our time, talking about stuff that's not, has nothing to do with us.
do we have a second? No. No second. Third time? Third time it's turn? No, no second.
Hey,
I think, Carl, that folks would like, I'm sensing that people would like to at least go out and look at it before we make a determination.
I hear you, but I still think it's a waste of time, and everybody should step up to the plate.
So, we need a motion. Okay. I have a motion to conduct a site walk.
I'll make a motion to conduct a site walk.
Second.
We need a date.
First available date would be the 19th of June, which is Father's Day.
I don't think anyone would like to do it on
What
Father's
about
Day.
during the weekend?
If we can do it. Are you around in the evening?
I'll be available whenever you say. Or you have permission to walk alone. Either way.
Since the earliest is the 19th until
20th,
Father's Day, the 20th.
Monday night the 20th. He's got 20 days to do it.
I don't.
What committee?
Well-
What commission?
I'm looking for money.
You're looking for money? You got the date?
Aren't we all?
I gotta go to Board of Finance
All
meeting.
right, so
21st?
21st,
That's what you mean.
That's okay.
Tuesday?
Tuesday, 21st?
The solstice.
Tuesday, the 21st.
At what time?
6.
For me.
6?
Everybody
Going
makes
once,
Six is good.
going twice. I'll make a motion that that sidewalk is at Tuesday, the 21st at 6 o'clock.
And do you want to set a rain date? Just in case.
22nd.
Rain or shine.
22nd.
It's
Twenty
warm,
second.
it's warm weather, will be, it's
Won't
not
make
like
any
it's
difference.
winter.
I'll take the shower. 22nd.
Well, technically, it's a special meeting, you need a day in between, so I could probably file it.
Thursdays are not good. We work late.
It's a rain date, so Friday or Saturday. 25th.
Either day.
We'll try and make it out on the 21st at 6, and if not, we will.
June 25th, I'm saying Saturday.
Do you want 25th? Is that good?
25th in the morning, your morning?
That's fine.
At 9 a.m.
That's the rain day.
That's the rain date. Any second to the motion?
Move second.
Any discussion? Gonna work with folks, all in favor? Opposed?
I'll abstain.
Carl, abstain. All right.
Do you want the pictures for the record, sir?
I need the pictures, and I need the plan that you showed.
One set's fine.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Mr. Baker? Before you leave, take our next agenda item.
No?
It's another restriction.
That's 32 or more.
I know. I'm just saying, it may be informative for you too, because it's a similar request, as of right.
Thank you, I appreciate that, thank you.
This is agenda item 5. This is in jurisdictional ruling on 32 Old Knott Road. Marlin Forest Products LLC is the applicant, Lori and Robert Strath are the owners. As of right activity, timber harvest, and jurisdictional ruling. What folks should have received previously, nothing missing. So what we have is a letter to the Inland Wetlands Commission dated May 24th, 2016 from Dan Lawrence. Mr. Lawrence? Yep. He's the agent describing the activity, which consists of a selective timber harvest on 15 acres, seeking jurisdictional determination under section 4.1 of the Inland Wetlands Regulations as a right activity, which reads as follows. Following operations and uses shall be permitted in inland wetlands and water courses as of right. Section 4.1A includes grazing, farming, nurseries, gardening, harvesting of crops and farm ponds in 3 acres or less, essentially to the farming operation, and et cetera, et cetera. It does not include road construction, erection of buildings, relocation of water courses, or reclamation of wetlands or water courses will continue to flow, clear cutting of timber, except for the expansion of agricultural cropland or mining of topsoil, peat, sand, gravel, or similar material from the water courses for the purposes. So, paraphrase some of that, but it is our job to determine whether the information that we've been provided, the representatives here, we have sufficient documentation to adequately demonstrate that the use of the property is one for agricultural purposes, in this case forestry, and that the proposed work is related to or essential to that activity. For forestry proposals, we also need to verify that a certified forester is involved in designing and implementing the operation, and that valid silvicultural plans when prepared by a certified forester, including a map that shows practices to be performed, including BMPs, best management practices to minimize the impact of the wetland and water course. So we do have, with that, we do have a brief forestry management practices plan. It's dated May 24th, 2016, or at least that's the date of receipt. And we also have with that a harvest, a map showing the timber harvest proposed, the wetlands area, the area for the selective harvest, skid road, and the patch cut area. Do you want to just walk us through what the proposal is?
Sure. I noticed that it's kind of a sad looking map, it's not in color, so.
Say there for the record.
My name is Dan Lawrence. I'm a certified Connecticut forester, and I work for Peter Marlowe Forest Products out of Guilford. Basically, we're going to be doing a selective timber harvest on the McGrath property. They had a forest management plan written by another forester, and we're pretty much just going by what they had suggested. We're going to be removing roughly 1/3 of the trees on 12 acres of property, and on the other portion, it's going to be considerably more than that. The majority of the trees, the overstory trees, will be removed, and a few high-quality seed trees will be left behind to, seed in and allow for regeneration in that area.
And they're going to be hand cut?
Yep, hand cut and skid with a cable skidder. which works well for us because if there are any sensitive areas, we have the ability to cut the tree by hand, run the cable out, and remove the tree from the area without the machine ever being in the sensitive areas.
What I couldn't tell is, well, first I want to verify there's no wetland crossings or working wetland controls.
No.
Where's your landing area and access point?
We're going to
Are you
be,
coming through and joining?
yeah, we're going to be working with the neighbors on that one. There's already an existing road that runs along the edge of that pit there. It comes right up to where we're coming out.
You indicated that when you're done, you're going to install water bars on the road?
Yep.
On the trail?
It's a pretty flat lot. There is one section where there's a little bit of a slope, so we can certainly put in some water bars there. And any of the steeper sections will be seeded and paved.
Okay. The additional best management practices I would recommend, I guess because it's not clear here, is that no deposition of any slash material in any wetland or streams.
Yep.
If there are areas that we need backlaying or not, we can do that.
Yeah, we'll backlight all the roads before we
And loading areas.
Yep. It's kind of deceiving that the property is actually really well kind of delineated between the wetlands and the property. Most of it's very dry and stony, but the wetlands are really wet and we're not going to be cutting anything out of there. I mean, it's practically a pond.
Anybody have any other questions for Mr. Warren?
How long is it going to take?
Weather depending, I think I said 8 to 12 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks.
Sure, it's just saying the path, this is a repeat path. It's been harvested before.
No, they cut the piece behind
Other,
it.
She's
timber
referring to
farms.
other timber farms that we've done through a WU. Does that sound right, Eric? Or have you been involved in any of those?
Well, I guess, again, it's strictly, for farming or timber purposes here, it's really exempt. So the question is everything that's being done within the scope of that activity? Not clear in this case.
It seems like they've got all the pieces in place, and it meets the regulatory definition.
It seems pretty.
As a right activity. So with those additional recommendations, as far as best management practices, I'm fine with the project. Or others, no need for a permit. We need to, can it be just by consensus, or do we want to do it?
We need to make a motion that this is forestry activity and therefore outside of jurisdiction. Again, this is jurisdictional determination, therefore if it's not within your jurisdiction, we need to essentially say if the following recommendations are satisfied, that you believe that it will be outside of determination. So I think that the motion should be, it's without, based on material submitted and the additional recommendations as provided.
Sure we don't want to do a sidewalk.
Mr. Neary, it wasn't recommended here, and
What do you want?
You can do it if you want to.
You can do it. Okay.
I think we're being facetious. We'll delay this.
I'm his interpreter, and that was fine.
Okay. All right, Mike, you want to make a motion?
you're making a motion that this commission lacks jurisdiction, and it's based upon the evidence that's submitted and the conditions that are recommended. And essentially, based on the evidence and with the commission's as recommended, that the commission agrees that's no jurisdiction.
With additional conditions.
Well, that's the point. We're not, there's no approval, so that we're not going to have conditions of approval. So these are the conditions that are going to be integral to your determination of no jurisdiction.
So just a motion to agree that the commission lacks jurisdiction and no approval is required for the applicant to.
But again, it's based upon the evidence presented and the additional conditions requested.
Additional recommendations.
Yes, additional recommendations. And if you want to put a specific date of the letter that we...
Forest management practices.
So I move that the commission agrees that there's a lack of jurisdiction and no approval required based on the evidence presented this evening along the additional recommendations for the activities at 32 Old Knott Road. Peter Marlowe, Forest Products LLC applicant for lowering and Robert McGrath owners, Masquerade activity, timber harvest.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Very much, Lawrence.